Hello, everybody. Just because I am Bruce Lee's daughter does not necessarily mean that I am qualified to talk about his philosophies and the way he lived his life. He passed away when I was very young. I was 4 years old. But the reason that I am here and the reason that I do what I do is because I am very inspired by his words. I try to live his principles. And the one way in which that I am connected by being Bruce Lee's daughter, able to speak about his philosophies, is because his philosophies have helped me to deal with being Bruce Lee's daughter. There have been, I am always ultimately grateful for who I am and for having such an amazing family, such an amazing father. But there are times when people put their assumptions on me, when I put my own judgments on myself and feel like, oh my God, I should be in better shape, or I should have accomplished more at this point in my life. My father died when he was 32. I'm 47. But then I remember that my father's true core philosophy was being yourself. And that helps me walk through every single day. And that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about today. So, as you can see, it says how to be an action hero. And I just want to note, since it is Superhero You, that my father looks very much like Superhero. He's got a graphic, bold, one-piece costume on. He's got his signature weapon, his signature moves and cries. But that his true way in which he was an action hero was that he lived the art of self-mastery. So I want to talk to you about that today. And I say action hero instead of superhero because I really believe that his core gift was that he could put into action his beliefs. He walked the walk. So in a letter that my father wrote to his good friend, Taki Kimura, he put these steps in there. And I kind of look at it and call it a recipe. By the way, I'm so grateful that I have the ability to have access to all of his writings and his words. It's continued to feed me and guide me, even though he himself is no longer here. I know journaling has been mentioned a lot today, so I'm so grateful to have access to that. So in this letter, he put down this, what I'm calling a recipe, and it was, wishing to cultivate yourself, first rectify your heart. Wishing to rectify your heart, seek to be sincere in your thoughts. Wishing to be sincere in your thoughts, first extend to the utmost of your knowledge. This lies in the investigation of things. And then discard all thoughts of reward, all hopes of praise and fears of blame, all awareness of one's bodily self, and let your spirit out as it will. I mean, what does that all mean, right? Like, it's pretty heady. My father had this really beautiful poetic way of speaking, but it was sometimes a little difficult to really apply to oneself. You have to really break it down. So basically what he's saying here is the tried and true mind, body, and spirit, right? Use your body and your mind to cultivate yourself to express your spirit. So how can we do this? I'm going to break it down. So step one, I'm calling spiritual realization, or, as he would say, don't think, feel. When my father was 21 years old, very young, he had just been in the States a couple years. He had just started teaching martial arts to some people. He hadn't yet, done any of the movies. He was in college. He wrote a letter to a friend back home in Hong Kong, and in the letter, he said this: I feel I have this great creative and spiritual force within me that is greater than faith, greater than ambition, greater than vision. It is all these combined. My brain becomes magnetized with this dominating force which I hold in my hand. Whether it is the Godhead or not, I feel this great force, this untapped power, this dynamic something within me. This feeling defies description, and no experience with this feeling may be compared. It is something like a strong emotion mixed with faith, but a lot stronger. He's basically talking about feeling his own vital energy, his own animating life force within his body, right? We all have that within ourselves. He's saying, I feel my own energy. I get a sense of what that is. What do I do with that? I'm supposed to do something with that, right? Otherwise, why would I be feeling that? So, in that same letter, he broke that down a little bit. And this is step 2, which is personal effort. Unfortunately, it takes some effort to cultivate that energy, which is you, right? All types of knowledge ultimately mean self-knowledge. In that letter, he wrote a list of things, not in list form, but within the body of the letter, that he likes, that he feels, that drives him, that he wants, that comes from his heart. He said, I'd like to let the world know about the greatness of Chinese martial arts. I enjoy teaching and helping people. I'd like to have a well-to-do home and family. I'd like to originate something. This is all something we can do. We can check in with our hearts and make a list of things to work towards, the thing that drives us, the thing that makes us feel excited. Then he said, man's mind and behavior are one. Your inner thoughts and outer expression cannot contradict each other. This is where the effort comes in. Because oftentimes we say yes when we mean no, or we do things we don't really want to do, or we have contradictory actions to how we really feel on the inside. This takes practice. Your mind and your behavior are one. Your inner thoughts and their outer expression cannot contradict one another. That takes a lot of effort. So you make the list, you know what it is, and then you start going towards it. Then comes step 3, and this one might be a little bit surprising, but step 3 is harmony. Or, as he would say, under the sky, under the heavens, there's but one family. Now, why would Bruce Lee be talking about harmony? Because for him, his spiritual force is part of an ecosystem, and how to actualize that out into the world takes being in flow with nature, with your environment, with the people around you. So remember that part of the recipe that said, discard all thoughts of reward, all hopes of praise, and fears of blame, all awareness of one's bodily self. You're not doing this for the reward. You're not doing this for the praise or so that you don't get blamed. You need to do this just to let your spirit out into the world and create that super version of you. He said you have only to perform your own mission in life without any thoughts of aggressiveness or competition. Kind of crazy for a martial artist not to be thinking about aggressiveness. But it's not about competition. Follow the will of nature and coordinate your will and your mind to become one with nature. To know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. Relationship is the mirror in which you discover yourself. You have to relate to your environment. You have to relate to who's around you. You can't really cultivate self in a bubble. Now I'm going to play a clip from one of his movies because that will be fun to watch a clip from one of his movies. But it goes to the point. So this is a scene from Enter the Dragon. I'm sure some of you will recognize it. It's not an action sequence.
It's Lao's
really.
time. Yes, of course. Kick me. Kick me. What was that? An exhibition? We need emotional content. Try again.
Don't just put on a show. We need emotional content.
I said emotional content, not anger. Now try again. With me.
He thought emotional, so he said, I'm going to be all fierce. But no, do it with me. With me.
That's it. How did it feel to you? Let me think. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand? Never take your eyes off your opponent, even when you bow. That's it.
So, we need emotional content. We need to relate to our environment. When he threw the kick the last time, you can go home and watch it for yourselves if you didn't notice, but it was at his body. It wasn't just this pretty kick up into the air or this, I'm tough and fierce and I'm going to show you. It was in relationship to what was in front of him. And then when he said to him, how did that feel to you? The kid goes, let me think, which is a detachment from feeling the experience of what that was. And he says, you're missing the big picture, right? You're concentrating on the finger, not everything around you. So we need emotional content. We need you to relate your energy to your environment. We need you to cultivate and channel your energy and relate it outward into the world. So I've broken down a handful of steps that were part of my father's belief system. Feel into your own vital energy and use your heart as a channel for understanding how your energy wants to take physical form. Participate in life and make note of what moves you. Rectify your heart, remember from the beginning? Both good and bad. Investigate. Be sincere in what it is you think about yourself and what you feel, and investigate it. cultivate the good, and follow the bad to its solution. My father used to say, the problem is never apart from the solution. The solution is in the problem. Make a list of goals. Work toward them. You may not achieve them, but they will give you purpose and something to aim at, and you will discover many things. Learn from your mistakes. This is key. This is part of solving the problem. When you have, someone spoke about failure earlier today, my father always looked at failure as a path to success. Keep going. Practice, practice, practice. Don't lie to yourself. This is a hard one. You have to get real. You have to really be willing to look. That can be really hard to do. That's why this takes effort. And then be you. That is your superpower. Nobody else can be you. You don't have to be Bruce Lee. I'm not Bruce Lee. You just have to be yourself. So to boil that down, relate to your environment through the heart. Use the mind to organize and assess. Use the body to practice. And then release the spirit. Because for me, the true mastery of Bruce Lee, this is kind of like a jam-packed sentence, is the skillful cultivation of instinct that flows with purpose. And the one last thing that I will say about mastery and Bruce Lee is that Bruce Lee did not consider himself a master. He did not ever want to be called that. He considered himself the eternal student. Because once you are calling yourself a master and you've reached some level, there's nowhere else to go. But there's always something more to learn. There's always something more to experience. There's always deeper to go. So that, to me, is his superpower. Self-mastery. It's really why I believe we are still talking about him 43 years after he passed away, why he is still relevant today, why he is still inspiring me and so many other people in the world, and why I love what I do, because I get to share that with all of you. So thank you very much.